In the ages that would follow the clash of Bul-Kathos and his son, the race of the Nephalem would continue its decline of its heritage, slowly losing touch with its immortality, its wisdom, knowledge, and connection with magic. And with each passing generation, more and more of humanity would now instead take their place within the realm of sanctuary. And as seasons went and decades became centuries, the very concept of time itself began to take form, yet not time as it was perceived by the existence of creation in its immeasurable vastness, but instead in its immediate passing within human history. Time was now observed, remembered, and for the first time since the creation of Sanctuary, humanity began to record its own existence. What had once been legend became documented, and what had once been memory became history. And thus, the age of recorded time began, and by now, millennia had passed since the clash of Bul-Kathos and his son Hiram, and even countless more since the fall of the Nephalem. The past had become ancient time, Sanctuary had moved on, and the world as a whole had changed. Humanity had spread across the vast expanse of the realm, settling on its land, shaping its environment, and carving out a little piece of their own existence in this world still confined to the shadows. Tribes would become settlements, and settlements would become cultures, and from those cultures would emerge something far greater: civilizations. Far to the east, beyond the scattered tribes and the silent watch of Mount Arreat, humanity would take its first true step into organized society. The city of Kajan. Around 2,300 years before the modern era, this would be the first true civilization of mankind. Recovered knowledge from this period reveals the inventions of humanity which would truly mark a turning point for the species. The inventions of the concepts of writing, art, and science. No longer would ideas be carried solely through the voice and fragile state of memory. They would instead be embedded within society, catalogued, studied, and expanded upon. And for the first time in all of human existence, knowledge, its preservation, and its continuation could now far outlive those who had created it. And with this expansion of knowledge came an even deeper curiosity, for it would be here, 2,200 years before present age, that the curiosity of mankind would turn towards something far more dangerous, something that had long since been forgotten: the study of the art of magic. Though humanity had long since been separated from its Nephalem origins, and their ability to manipulate unseen forces had vastly diminished, the essence of its potential had never truly vanished. And now, through studying, through experimentation, and through discovery, this ability began to return. And with humanity continuing to expand in size, the role as ruler became increasingly more difficult for the angel Inarius. The many restrictions he had put on the Nephalem became more and more difficult to enforce, for after all, the angel was not omnipotent, Sanctuary was a vast place, and being everywhere was impossible, even for a being of such divine creation. And because of this, mankind inevitably would retrace the steps of the Nephalem. Within Kajan, the study of magic became formalized. What was once conjured by either instinct or pure accident was refined into methodologies. It became controlled, weaponized, and from this pursuit of mastering the forgotten arts of the Nephalem heritage arose powerful groups dedicated to mastering these ancient forces. These would be known as the Mage Clans. Often referred to as the Eastern Mage Clans or the Mage Clans of Kajan, these clans were many and numerous, each of them specialized in their own branch of magic. And out of all of these clans, three of the largest were the Vishtarai, the Innate, and the Amuid. Yet due to their difference in methodology, philosophy, and general conviction, these mage clans would often be in dispute, with some of them turning violent and even some turning deadly. But among these three clans studying the art of arcane magic, one of them would stand out among the others. For this was a clan whose ambition would go far beyond that of the mere chase of understanding its arts, and instead their pursuit would become something much darker. For within the Vishjarai, as the influence of the mage clans grew, so too did the need for structure. Power demanded order, and control demanded governance. And because of this, around 2,100 years before the modern era, a new authority was established within Kijan, the creation of the Al-Rakish. They were a ruling body formed to oversee the mage clans, existing alongside the monarchy and the great trade guilds of the civilization. They were tasked with keeping a watchful eye of the evolution of the studies and execution of the mage clans' respective arcane arts. But alas, power rarely remains contained. As the mage clans delved deeper into the study of magic, their ambitions began to outpace their caution. Their knowledge became obsession, and their curiosity turned to recklessness. With that recklessness of their hubris outpacing both their reasoning and the governing rules of the Al-Rakish, the pursuits of one particular acolyte would lead them to something that had long remained beyond the reach of mankind. And so in the year of 1992 before our present time, a man named Jiri Harash would change the course of history forever. Always the better student, Harash had throughout most of his life been outshined by his peers within the mage clan. He was an acolyte that was often referred to as a most forgettable member by most of the Vishjarai. Yet that bitterness became both hate and resentment, as Harash's mother and sister were killed in a dispute with the mage clan Amuid. As his heart roiled with anger and rage at the tragedy, Harash reached out to the spirits and made contact, succeeding where his contemporaries had failed before him. Yet this entity that he summoned into sanctuary was no spirit, but rather a demon. Deckard Cain would theorize thousands of years later that Harash's success of this summoning hinged upon the dark emotions that he was feeling at the time. Perhaps it was his anger and rage that somehow allowed him to attune to one of the realms of hell. Yet whatever the root cause, Harash quickly recognized the perils of the murderous creature that he had summoned. After restraining it with binding spells, he informed the elders of the Vishjarai of his discovery, and what had begun as a singular act of horrendous practice now became expanded upon as the Vishjarai sought to refine the process, perfect it, and continue its evolution. Thus the arcane art of demonology was born, and the trajectory of mankind changed permanently. For the first time in its creation, the burning hells have now become aware of its existence. The primevals discovered sanctuary, and more importantly, discovered humanity as well. A race born of angels and demons alike, now wielding powers they did not fully understand. And it was in this moment that opportunity had revealed itself. In 1880, before our present time, a new religion would emerge within Kijan, the Temple of Triune, a path to enlightenment, a religion that began as a system of belief, one that promised balance, purpose, and a deeper understanding of the unseen forces shaping the world. To those who followed it, the teachings offered clarity, a sense of place in a world that had long been uncertain. Yet beneath these doctrines and the carefully performed rituals, something far more insidious took root. For the Triune was not merely a religion, it was the physical manifestation of deception, an intricate construct designed to quietly extend the influence of the primevals into the hearts of all of humanity. It moves slowly, subtly throughout society, embedding itself within communities and reshaping both thought and belief from within. As its influence grew, so too did the corruption it carried, invisible to those who were unaware of its existence and unseen by those who had already fallen under its sway. Yet the primevals were not alone in their awareness of humanity's changing fate, for 60 years later, in the year of 1820 before present time, another force chose to intervene, one that had been watching from the shadows since the very creation of Sanctuary itself. Inarius, the very architect of humanity's existence, had for centuries remained hidden, silently observing his creations evolve far beyond his own control. Humanity had grown in ways which he neither intended nor fully understood, but as the Triune's influence began to spread, threatening to reshape creation entirely, Inarius could no longer remain passive, and so he chose to act. In direct opposition to the Triune, Inarius established a new order, the Cathedral of Light. Unlike the hidden corruption of its rival, this faith presented itself as pure and righteous, built upon the very own image and teachings of Inarius himself. Where the Triune whispered promises that led to decay, the Cathedral offered salvation, order, and the illusion of divine truth. And so, it seems that fate is not truly without irony, for with this implementation of Inarius's religion, the eternal conflict had now reached Sanctuary. While not yet a conflict of armies or open war, it was instead a conflict of belief and influence, ideology and control, a war that was fought within the minds and souls of humanity, far removed from the battlefields of heaven and hell, yet truly no less consequential. 1 year later, in the year of 1819 before present time, as this invisible struggle began to take hold, a plague would strike the small town of Seram, a city located not far from the city of Gajan, and it moved with such ruthless efficiency, claiming so many lives that it erased entire families without warning or mercy. Among the dead was the family of a man who would one day come to stand at the center of everything, Oldician Diomed, and in the aftermath of the loss of his family, the evolving conflict between the Triune and the Cathedral of Light would interject themselves into the life of Oldician, and with his loss and grief of his family's demise intertwined with the clash of ideologies between the two religions, the final pieces of fate finally fell into place. With Oldician as the moving character, the stage was now set, not merely for another struggle of survival, but for something infinitely greater, for the great conflict would now see its first war within the world of Sanctuary. As always, a big thanks goes out to the Hunters Lounge, specifically the exclusive Johnny Sevens, the exclusive Gitchy Boy, the exclusive War Monk, the exclusive The Cayute, and the exclusive Rat. The VIPs, Kovo Bearslayer, Derivative, Doug Powell, Dustin the Grim, Fritz, Gino Lucero, Goose, Hambone, Jiminel Bob, Corey Peterson, Michael Fornell, Mordev Menace, Mr. Mouse, Ryan, Slip, Stas Biestic, Sunrise Phoenix, TJ Crane, Texas Toast, and the Wizard of Copper. And of course, all the regulars. If you want to support the channel, then consider signing up as a member either here on YouTube or on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Link is in the description below. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you on the next one.